Peace, 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 peace. I believe we're live. I believe we're live. How are we feeling, fellas? What is the good word? First and foremost, it's this guy's birthday. Happy birthday to the man,
Happy
young
birthday,
Chad
Mr.
Law.
Law.
Salute y'all. I appreciate it, man. The RSC family, you know what I'm saying? Had to make sure I was here. Wasn't going to miss an episode. Don't matter. It's my birthday. If it's Christmas, Thanksgiving, we're going to churn this content out for the love of the wrestling. You know what I'm saying? The almighty RSC. Birthday good, though. You know what I'm saying? Real calm, self-care day. Couldn't ask for much more. Family time, getting here to pod with my guys. Like, I'm excited, man. It's been a good-ass Thursday. Any day we can get out here and get the good word out when it comes to all this content we've been absorbing, it's a good night for me.
Yes, sir. So we already know what time it is. Before we get into the introductions, before we start the show, we have the show before the show, otherwise known as Survey Time. So it's going to be a lot of King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring conversation on the first half of this episode. But survey question to go around the ring is, we've seen years and years of King of the Rings. Who is your favorite King of the Ring? Start with our guest, Mr. King Rickie Rozay. Who's your favorite King of the Ring?
Oh boy. Everybody's gonna say it's Austin, and everybody liked Austin winning King of the Ring because of what happened to Austin afterwards, which all of that was a fluke for all intents and purposes, because it was supposed to be Triple H. And Triple H took the brunt of the rest of the clique. My favorite King of the Ring probably has to go between Kurt Angle, who, just because of how he was as just a pompous buffoon, it worked out so well. Or Booker, because you had King Booker, and King Booker's a fantastic act, and it shouldn't have gotten over as well as it did, but he won it and he dragged it out for as long as possible. So I'm probably going to go with King Booker. He did the most with it out of, I think, anybody.
King Booker. I'm going to go with Bret. Bret, I believe that was 93. I'm going with Bret as my favorite just because of the prestige that he brought to the table. Like, Bret Hart, sometimes you have to remind yourself that Bret probably understands that this is a show, but you're not really sure because he believes I believe that he believes every word that comes out of his mouth. The way he carries himself, this is shoot, brother. So I'm going to go with Bret Hart because for that time period, he really believed he was the king. Chad, what you got?
For the sake of the King of the Ring, I'm looking at it right now, just because I want to make sure I have the actual names in the year.
Okay.
I would have to go with, it's a tie. It would be 2002 Brock Lesnar. When he defeated RVD and essentially started his coronation as, the guy in WWE, because he would go on to defeat The Rock only but 3 months later, which messed me up. I couldn't believe it. I was like, who is this guy?
I was in that arena when it happened.
Oh, you were in Nassau Coliseum?
Yes, sir.
Bro.
Nice.
That was insane to watch that live. So that was also the last King of the Ring pay-per-view for a while. And then the next King of the Ring, when it came back, 2006, King Booker T.
Oh, yeah.
Booker. We got two for Booker.
King Booker, man. I think that was the one that just really propelled Booker T to, that spark that he needed, because he was just going through the motions in WWE for those periods that he was there after WCW. So King Booker was a good one. I think that was a very good, very, very good turn.
Sounds good. From talking about the King of the Ring of the past with the King of the Ring of the present, and of course a little bit later the King of the Ring of the future, let's go on and get this show started one time for the one time. Peace to y'all, it's the Ringside Club Paul, A.O., Blame Boogie, Chad Law. The power's back, triple power bomb. The big dog trio in the stream, y'all. Go outside, hit the venue guard. It's all love when you see us, Lord. Back to the pad, on air for the pod. Ringside Club, intro to the squad. Let the show start. Peace, 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 peace. Yes, sir. Peace to the gods, of course. Peace to the earths. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, dogs, cats, children of all ages. We're back like we usually do, broadcasting live from the Empire Tri-State every Thursday night, 9:05 live. It's your boys. It's the Ringside Club. Of course, peace to Bug out on assignment. But we're here, man. We're celebrating a birthday. We have a special guest. But before we really dive into things, let everybody know you can check everything you need to know at theringsideclub.com. All the past episodes are there. All the future episodes are there. Make sure you subscribe across all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else. The visuals right there on YouTube. But if you don't catch the on air, you can definitely catch us on demand. And of course, follow us across all social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, everywhere else. Tap in with your boys. As far as I go, 2 letters AO, and that's all you need to know. Birthday kid, what's good, boy?
Feeling good, fellas. Feeling good, man. It's another day, 32. You know what I'm saying? Still feeling ever so young, but I'm getting up there in age. I'm all right, though, man. I'm feeling good. Much love to everybody that's reached out on the social medias. You know what I'm saying? Said all their birthday love. You know what I'm saying? Much love to y'all. It's another Thursday, man. It's the almighty. What would I be if I wasn't live from the car phone right now? You know what I'm saying? Just got done with my evening. You know what I mean? Just like immediately, like, nah, I don't even care where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I'm always getting popping with it. I'm in the studio. I'm in the car. The iPad is queued up. We good to go. So, you know what I mean? We here.
Absolutely. Now, we are joined by a guy that I've apparently known for nearly 3 decades, let's say.
Apparently, we grew up in the same town, man.
Don't even know.
Insane. Insane. Haven't talked to this good fella in a while, but I'm looking forward to chopping it up with him. We have King Rickie Rozay, representative of the King of the Rings podcast. Of course, you can find that on Wrestle Addict Radio. Find him everywhere at Ambassador Big Z on that X, that Twitter. Rickie, what's good, brother? Welcome to the Ringside Club. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I will say this, and I told you this off air. I'm going to tell you this on air. I had known AO was a part of this fine establishment of the Ringside Club for, I would say, a couple of years now. And I, followed him on my personal Twitter. I followed you guys just today. But I followed you guys on Wrestle Addict Radio and on Kings of the Rings podcast social media accounts. And I had tried to collab with you guys, I think last year or a couple of years ago on something. I don't remember what it was. I was trying to bring us together. And so you guys, we finally got this together this today. We had about 2 or 3 hours before recording. It finally clicks in AO's head that not only did we pretty much, I think we did grade school together too.
I think so.
Yeah. Not only did we grade school together, we did high school together. We lived in the same town. It took him until 3 hours before this to realize that he actually knew me for this entire time.
You know, to his defense, though, when you in the wrestling community, sometimes it still messes you up when you see, like, wait a minute, you're here too? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a doctor's office type shit. You just like see it, like, wait a minute, you here? Like, what you doing here? You know what I mean? Like,
hey man, we can blame it on the memory and not the heart, bro. It's good to have you here.
It is fantastic.
Yeah. Before we dive into any of the topics, definitely let everybody know what the Kings of the Rings podcast is about, where they can find it. Wrestle Addict Radio, we've had a nice relationship with Wrestle Addict Radio as of late as well. But let everybody know about the podcast, how long you've been doing it, things of that
okay.
nature.
So yeah, this is going to be a fun time. So the year was late 2016. I was invited by a friend of mine to go watch Money in the Bank 2016 with this guy Will, who ends up being the founder of Kings of the Rings podcast. This is the history of the podcast, by the way. It's the night that LeBron wins the NBA Finals with the Cavaliers, which is the same night that the Shield all hold the World Heavyweight Championship. Okay.
Wow, I didn't realize it was the same night. That's a hell of a snap fact.
It is also Juneteenth that night as well. Yeah. So nice. we immediately go into a podcast that I had already established for about 30 some odd episodes. We do our first ever episode. I do my first ever podcast, first ever episode together. I apparently made a great impression. They decided that I should stay. We start growing it almost like organically. We start following people on Twitter. We start live tweeting most of the events. WWE is obviously pre-AEW. We start getting on some people's radars, in particular, this podcast known as Rant with Ant. If you were familiar with him way back when, one of the bigger podcasts when wrestling podcasts really started to blow up on an independent level. We met up with Rant with Ant in 2018 at the Rumble in Philadelphia. We then met up with him and some of his constituents it later on in 2018 in New Orleans at WrestleMania, where they were on our show. About a month or so after that, in 2018, he formally invites us to be a part of what is now known as Wrestle Addict Radio. Um, and we've become a part of that with Ram with Dan. Ram with Dan ended up winning an award for one of the best independent podcasts later on that year. In 2019, we had a big gala in Weehawken for WrestleMania 35, featuring the likes of some internet personalities as the Demon Diva, Issa, as well as a guest who was the guy who freaked out with the eyes wide open when The Undertaker lost the streak. He was there.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
It's really, really nice.
Legend. That guy is a legend. Now,
Meme legend he's become.
Yeah, he's a meme legend. Really, really nice guy. When later on that year, about after WrestleMania 35, Rambit and kind of closes its doors, gives the reins over to us as the premier show of Wrestle Addict Radio, and we start to build it and add a bunch of other shows to networks. Wrestle Addict Radio is a collection of wrestling podcasts covering various forms of wrestling. I consider Kings of the Rings podcast our premier show, the sports center of a show of a network per se. We are covering a lot of broader topics. We're not really going into specifics, but a lot of the headline stuff like you would talk about. That's our show. We also have a show called the Fretzlemania podcast, what is done by our North American treasure and Canadian, Mr. Fretz, who used to be a fan of Kings of the Rings podcast, who we turned him into a wrestling podcaster. So Fretzlemania will look back at wrestling from 25 to 20 years ago and provide commentary on it. So he's providing a look back at the stuff. Currently, right now, he is looking at the time in wrestling when David Arquette and The Rock were world champions. So that's something to think about.
David Arquette and The Rock in the same sentence is just very fire.
Heinous.
It happened. It happened. You know,
What a time.
we on Wrestle Addict Radio, we have someone who was on your show last week, Nate the effing
Absolutely.
Great of the Brace for Impact podcast. He kind of probably told you about his spiel. He looks at a lot of TNA and Impact. Great guy, funny man.
Stop, Kaz, stop.
Yeah, stop, Kaz,
stop.
Yeah.
No
He
more
looks at a lot of
Kaz.
Impact, TNA stuff. He's based out of Wisconsin. And then last but not least, from my man who currently lives in Colorado, we have the Young Lions Perspective podcast hosted by my man, Mr. YLP, Zach Rizika. And the best way I can explain how he does his solo show, which is really hard to do a solo show on a wrestling podcast, but he's very, very good at it. He's like our Stephen A. Smith. He's going to tell you how it is, how he feels about it, very unapologetically aggressive. So if you're into that style of commentary, he's the guy for you. He releases on Saturdays, Fretzlemania on Fridays, because Fretz Fridays. Kings of the Rings podcast, we do a live show on Tuesdays, simulcast on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and then Brace for Impact every other Monday for that. And Kings of the Rings record the playback of the show will happen on Thursday nights, with the audio and video for that. So that's pretty much us. We try to encompass everything. We try to do a lot of the wrestling world as we can. We've been doing this I've been doing this at least for about 7-8 years at this point, which is
And
crazy.
how many episodes of Kings of the Rings? Like, what are you up to now?
When we're not taking breaks.
I know
Because
the
listen, we had to fix some schedules around. TV contracts were coming up. We had to figure it all out. As the head of the network and the head of the podcast, which I worked my way up to, which I'm very thankful for. We are at we just finished episode 375.
Salute.
Thank you.
That's a nice number.
We just finished episode 375. We probably could have been at 400 a lot earlier, but again, we like breaks from time to time.
Need to take them too.
We've had some great guests like I said, the Demon Diva. We've had you might know him, AL PB Smooth on the independent scene, another Hempstead person.
That's Chaz boy.
I went to high school with PB Smooth, actually.
Oh yeah. I know PB Smooth quite well.
I've seen
PB
him working his way up. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Shout out to the homie, man.
he's getting there. We've had Eddie Kingston was one of my first interviews. We've had Josh Briggs on here as well. Brian Idol, a very big independent name for a while. So we've had a lot of people. We do it because we love to do it, and I've had a great time. I met some
Hey,
amazing
labor
people
of
doing
love.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've met some amazing people doing this, and that's why I keep doing it because it brings me joy, it brings me happiness. It's something that I love to do.
With you
hundred
on that.
percent. You're in the right place because we definitely do this for the love of pro wrestling. And like I said, one of the coolest things, outside of pro wrestling, I'm not sure how many other opportunities we would have had to bump into each other, right? So this is
Very
dope.
true.
We reconnected. There's been a bunch of people. Chad and I we met because of music, but actually stayed in touch more so because of wrestling. Same thing with
Mhm.
us and Boog and all that. So the coolest thing, man, and we'll dive in a little bit of WWE in a bit, but the coolest thing about this for me so far, coming up on 100 episodes, almost 2 years this summer of the Ringside Club, is pretty much the fact that I get a chance to talk to people about something that I enjoy, about something that they enjoy, and then relationships develop after that. So shit's cool. It's
Absolutely.
definitely cool.
We're making
All
it
right,
happen.
man.
Let's get to
This
Backlash.
past this past weekend was a nice little weekend, 1 p.m. in the afternoon type of vibe. It was
I love these
amazing.
so
It was
much.
yeah, and it didn't last long. I think by the time we got to 4 o'clock, they were already in the press conference. So it
That
was
does
Press
wrap it up for the
conference was like
Kentucky Derby.
30 minutes. It was like
right.
30 minutes, fam. It was over. In
It
and
it, it
Yeah,
out.
flew by. It flew by. I actually I was home watching it. I had to a couple of things I was working on, and it was just pleasant to look up and like, oh, this isn't a replay. This is happening. This is happening live, real time. So speaking of that, that's WWE Backlash. For starters, let's go around. Like, what was everybody's out of the 5 matches? What were highlights? What was your if you can just name one personal highlight, Rick, and one highlight you think, Chad, from Backlash this weekend? What would it be?
outside of the crowd, because we're all going to talk about the crowd.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
and luckily I have a French translator on retainer. That I was able to ask, like, what the hell are they talking about, and she was able to tell me. The highlight: Jade Cargill's absolute insane finisher that should have won the match.
Yep.
I think that was it. She took a woman from the turnbuckle. It was Kyrie. Kyrie tried the run. She held the run and picked her back up, twisted her around, threw this woman up in the air, caught her by her shoulders, and then pretty much did a modified glam slam on her.
Yeah. Nah,
Insane.
it
That
was.
was a sick combo. Very good.
Yeah.
Like,
I
when you
if I'm
take
not
all of
mistaken,
the chaos
yeah,
from the match away, like, I think that ending really was standout. Like, that was a good. I just wish she would have got the pin
Me too.
after all of it was said and done. I just think that would have been more statement if she got the pin. But the tagging in and out shit was already confusing. Already getting
Yeah,
way out.
they lost. They lost count, I think.
for sure. For sure. I
For-
think that same sequence, she hit that against Sky Blue at some point. It might have been Sky Blue, but on this type of stage, and the fact that there's so many things going
Who
on
remembered that
that
episode of Rampage from 2 years ago?
clearly I'm the only one out of the three. So
WWE
You are
Universe
clearly
healing
the
right
only
there.
one.
Like, that was
we'll
crazy.
we'll
You
move
had
right
to have pulled
along.
that up from the timeline. Someone had to have pulled the Jade back up. And
If
said,
I if I had the clip, yeah, nah, don't front. If I had the clip, I'd play it right now. You'd be
I
like,
know
oh yeah, I
you
remember that.
would.
Yeah, yeah. But it's dope. See, like it happened before, but the fact like there's so many moves that have to go 100% correct. Like if she slips and kind of drops an arm a little bit, that whole thing just looks like a botch. So nah, I agree. What was your highlight, Chad, from Backlash?
Oh man, it's tough to go with just one, man. Like, on a commentary side, CM Punk needs to do commentary or be in a pre-show at all. Their chemistry together is like so underrated that like they could really take over the pre-show. Like, if Punk just like, yo, you know what? I know I'm wrestling tonight, but I'm also doing the pre-show. It's like, yo, I would lose it. Like, Biggie already is just letting it fly with the forbidden.
Oh, we lost him.
Tech turns heel once again. That's a reoccurring theme on this show. Technology is the biggest heel in the business.
It happens. We blame LAX usually when our friend from Queens isn't able to make it.
Love it. I was surprised. Were you as surprised as I were to actually see Tonga Loa because we were talking about it on the previous episode that
Hmm.
it could be um, Jacob Fatu that shows up, but I thought it would have been Jacob Fatu probably on an episode of SmackDown. So Tonga Loa showing up was not on my radar whatsoever. You know what I mean?
It was
So
on no one's radar. I did
yeah,
not expect Tongaloa to show up. I was like,
I'm
Camacho's
satisfied.
back. I was like, Camacho, what are you doing?
I am satisfied that he is back. Like I kept saying back. I'm satisfied that he's here. I don't know about Camacho. Like I wasn't paying any attention to that. So I'm just gonna
No one
say
was.
like I'm happy that he's here because right now it still gives all of them time to look stronger until Jacob Fatu gets here.
Hmm.
Because Jacob Fatu is going to trump all of them
yeah.
in his overall presence, ability to talk, cut a promo, flip, dive, jump, run, slam. Like he's going to take. Like I was really thinking about this. Like after the pay-per-view, I was kind of getting a little frustrated. Like, damn, like he should have came through. But then I'm also just like, it's okay that he's not there because he's going to trump. He's scarier than Solo Sikoa. Like Solo is like he looks like the chump compared to this Jacob Fatu. So I'm like, maybe it's best that they don't bring him in yet. So I'm happy with Toa, with the Gorillas of Destiny coming in.
Yeah, GOD. We should have known because Michael Cole queued it up perfectly,
Yeah, he
and
did.
we should have known. We should have known because for the first time ever, I think on a WWE broadcast, he openly talked about Tama Tonga's time in NJPW, name dropping.
That
I
shit
was
was
like,
sick.
"What is
That
going
shit was
on?"
insane, bro. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, yo, is this really happening right now? Is he really
I thought the same. Once I heard Evil, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" I was like, "He's okay."
There's a
It's like,
couple of
real good.
times that we've seen shows. Like I think the first time I remember a Michael Cole non Vince McMahon produced broadcast is when they did Beast in the East when it was Kofi against Brock. They did like a
Mm.
WWE Network day. So I'll tell you how
I
long
remember
ago it
Beast
was.
in the East.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was up for that.
And one of the highlights of that show was wow, like Michael Cole actually didn't annoy the shit out of me during this show. So now he's having a ball just saying
That's
whatever.
how I felt. That's how I felt when he did the
Yes.
NXT UK tournament.
The commentary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The commentary on this show was very rocking. Like thumbs up for the commentary. And Jey Uso, his entrance. Like I just think that if there's anything, his entrance, like, that'll be rocking. That's always a sight to see. You know what I mean?
We were talking about this on our show. We were like, how did nobody in America come up with the cell phone idea?
Amazing what that
Makes no
crowd
sense.
was doing. Like
Yeah.
I found
The
myself
simplest
chanting
thing that they're already doing, just tap into that, and nobody did it.
Yeah. No one did. I was in a room full of 70,000 people at WrestleMania. And no one was like, "Oh, let's bring our cell phone lights into this." Nope, not at all.
that was a good entrance. So I will say that Backlash had more highlights than bad. That was like an 8 out of 10 show for me.
Absolutely.
I don't know if we'll be running it back when it comes to like PLEs, but like, it'll be there.
Yeah,
But I
they're
think,
coming
like-
back for a stadium show.
Yeah.
I mean, like as far as like our list at the end of the year, like
Oh,
I don't
okay,
feel like
yeah.
at the end of the year, like this pay-per-view is gonna be the one that like cracks anyone's top 5. Like I think this would just be like that was there.
But again, depending on what you're going for, because like as an overall enjoyable show, top to bottom, these international PLEs, period, they, regardless of what you may think about certain matches here or there, the entertainment is so high level because these fans don't get to see WWE and they enjoying the hell out of themselves. You know what I mean? Because we don't know when they're going to come back. Like, remember that Puerto Rico crowd from last year, the Montreal crowd for the pay-per-view? Like, they don't know the next time that they're going to get a big WWE show. So they're going out. And
Fair.
that's what happened here in France.
It's the first time they ever did a live show in France.
Right.
So
Exactly.
like, it's the principle. It's scarcity. You don't get it often. So now when you get it, it becomes their WrestleMania by default.
Now
Absolutely.
think about this. They're going to be doing so many international shows this year.
Mhm.
Can you compare this one to the energy at Elimination Chamber? Because this energy at Backlash was actually so good. I don't even remember what the hell happened at Elimination Chamber.
The only thing I compare it to is Backlash from last year. Like Elimination Chamber was great because it was Sammy and Sammy came out to Worlds Apart and all of that. But I think as an overall show, I think this Backlash was better. The crazy thing about this Backlash was that You knew what was going to happen. You knew all the results. It just so happened that it was good wrestling with the results too.
Exactly. We did our prediction show and got every single one of
It's a
those
clean
matches
sweep.
spot on. Clean sweep.
Clean sweep.
But
Yeah.
sometimes the obvious story is still the
It's
enjoyable
the best
story to
story.
tell.
Occam's
Absolutely.
razor.
Cody Rhodes' first WWE Championship defense. He successfully beat AJ Styles. How are we grading this title reign so far?
Great start. AJ Styles was the HBK of his generation. He's going to make you look good.
Good one. It's a good one.
AJ Styles to me is like the legitimate hybrid of Brett and Shawn.
Mm-hmm. He's going to make you look good. There's no better person for Cody to go up against than AJ. I mean, when Roman was in one of his initial runs, he went against AJ twice, and AJ made him look like a superstar.
$1 million.
He did. My only gripe for this is that it happened on Backlash, because when you look at the history of Cody and AJ and the fact that in their careers, they're literally two ships passing in the night, crossing through the same organizations, being the heads of the Bullet Club. The detriment is that this happened at Backlash. This could have been a big four, huge event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a hell of a performance.
Yeah, I think if we were a little closer to AJ as a top priority in WWE, spot on. But it's just like recently, like he came back in at least visually the best shape that we've ever seen him in. You know what I mean? But the storylines for him hasn't necessarily like matched up to the appearance. But I agree. Like, and just imagine like two Georgia boys. Imagine if that match happens, when both of these guys are built up. Obviously, Cody has the chance
in Georgia,
in Atlanta.
Ridiculous. Yeah, it would have been ridiculous.
Christmas.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Energy would have been electric, and they'll probably save that for the rubber matches. You know what I'm saying? Down the line.
Yeah, they can go again.
State Farm. They know what they're doing, because that one will sell. Cody AJ 2 or Cody AJ 3. You know what I'm saying?
I'm buying. I'm buying.
In Georgia, maybe this could be the one where AJ actually does beat Cody, or who knows?
Yeah, non-title, because
who knows?
Non-title, a contender match, sure, qualifier, yeah.
But the raid for Cody for me is a cool B. I'm just happy he's got the belt, and I'm just happy to see what's going on as far as next steps, next opposition. Right now, he just had to have his Kane feud. He had to get that out the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's all I looked at as this one.
And
This was
the
Kane feud. This is like every time someone that shouldn't be the world champion wins the world title, here comes the Kane match. You know what I'm saying?
It's also the vibes of Backlash. Remember, like those first couple of Backlashes were like rematches from WrestleMania, where it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to be a successful defense. So, Backlash is the establishing of the champion pay-per-view.
I can't front. I was watching Backlash 02 when Hulk Hogan won the WWE title, my nigga. I was actually like, wow. How he lose to The Rock and come through and win? You know what I'm saying? He just beat Triple H like this. This is crazy. Triple H just won. He just I understood why Triple H turned into who he turned into at the end of 2002.
Right.
Because of how wavy his 2002 started. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's a diatribe in its own self. But nonetheless, Backlash, you're right, Ayo, is a very predictable pay-per-view. But it does
highly entertaining.
I think it's going to go forward as, all right, WrestleMania was one thing, but we're going to reset this shit with an electric crowd. So whoever gets Backlash next year, it better not be fucking Charleston, South Carolina. Love to West Virginia and, you know what I'm saying, all that shit. But, it definitely...
Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah, Corpus Christi, Texas. Yeah, you're definitely not seeing Backlash 2025. No way, no
26, 27, 28.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They'll go to Trinidad and Tobago and figure this shit out. You know what I'm saying? In a fucking soccer field.
Listen,
before they'll go back to fucking Topeka, Kansas for Backlash. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yo, we got the King and the Queen of the Ring tournament. Let me bring everybody up to speed on where we are as far as the winners, the losers, the quarterfinals. Gunther advanced. He faces the winner of Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio. Jey Uso advances. He faces Ilya Dragunov. Jey Uso versus Ilya Dragunov. Both of those matches are going to take place on Raw. For the women's quarterfinals right now, we have Io Sky. She takes on the winner of Shayna Baszler and Zelina Vega. Lyra Valkyria versus Zoe Stark. And that also takes place on Monday. And of course, the finals of the King of the Ring happen May 25th over there in Saudi at the actual King and Queen of the Ring pay-per-view. Rick, we had a question we talked about pre-pro email.
Yeah.
How can WWE make the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments more meaningful in the grand scheme of its yearly programming? What do you say? What do you think?
It has to mean something. Like, there's a reason that they keep getting rid of this. Like,
Right.
they keep, because it, like, yeah, it doesn't, like, when you have a gimmick like this, when you have a tournament like this, it has to mean something. Every great King of the Ring winner we know of or we talk about in history is by sheer luck and natural talent. Austin, the most prominent King of the Ring, was in it because Triple H had to take the rep for the click, or else we'd never get Austin 316. So that's a fluke. King Booker made a gimmick out of it, and it just kind of worked. Angle, same thing. Owen Hart, Brett, they kind of believe it, but in the grand scheme thing, it means nothing. When we have Money in the Bank, which leads to a title contention, when we have essentially, for the most part, Elimination Chamber, which leads to some sort of title contention based solely on where it's planted in the schedule, this has to mean something. Tournaments have to mean something. I know this is pro wrestling, but when you are kind of doing faux realism, for all of our non-marks in the building, this has to kind of lean into something. You can't have a tournament for the sake of having a tournament to say that you won the tournament. No one's going to care. I barely care half the time. The only time I care about Kings and Queens of the Ring is when they do a good job character-wise. Zelina Vega was hysterical as the first Queen of the Ring.
Did nothing really, but
did nothing. But she was there, Xavier Woods was just a nerd. I'm doing it, but it has to mean something. It doesn't have to lead to a main title feud. It doesn't have to. Because if you look at it, the King of the Ring is saying, I am the best worker in WWE.
WWE's Continental Classic.
Yeah, pretty much.
But even with the Continental Classic, we know what the stakes are at the end of that. Like,
exactly.
If somebody wins the King of the Ring, this is the play-in tournament.
They get the triple title.
Yeah, no. Give them like a shot at the IC. Give them a shot at the United States Championship. Probably not the US. Give it the IC. It's a little bit more of a broad thing you can do. Obviously, this is kind of difficult because the women don't have a mid-card, except if you're in NXT. But that's what I would do. I would give them a run, not at a title of their choice, but a mid-card title. This would also also mean that the women would have to get a mid-card title, which if the NXT experiment works, which it's going to work, this is going to be coming down the pipe. But I think that's how you got to make it significant. It's either give them a title or give them a spot at, I don't know, since it's the beginning of the summer, give them a spot at SummerSlam.
Wild pause on that coming down the pipe, by the way. That was crazy. But, I look at the King of the Ring winners list, and the last person that did anything and made it worthwhile with a world title reign was Booker T, 2006. Everyone after that, William Regal, Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Baron Corbin, Zelina, Xavier. Nobody, Sheamus did go on to win the WWE title shortly after, but nobody here really did anything with their wins. Xavier was for show. Baron Corbin ran the hell out of his gimmick. Wade Barrett tried, but he couldn't beat Bad News Barrett. You know what I'm saying? Bad News Barrett was way better than King Barrett.
Yeah.
So it really would make sense for something to matter when it comes to a world title shot. When you look at who's in the tournament and who's left, I think Gunther is going to be the winner, and I think he's going to utilize this for a SummerSlam match. That would be amazing.
Or Bash in Berlin.
Bash in Berlin would be
Bash in Berlin.
Yeah.
And he's believable enough to where, like, Damian Priest, I think it's time for you to come up off that, buddy. You ain't Roman Reigns, my dude. You ain't Cody Rhodes, buddy. Like, I think it's time. Like, Finn ain't turned on you yet. Like, all right, so Finn, whether he turns on you or not, like, yeah, buddy. Like, especially if Damian goes full-on babyface, yeah, man. Gunther's going to just fatality this dude when he gets a title match. So.
If he drops at the end of August, which is when Bash in Berlin is, I'm perfectly fine with that. Give him
Hell
4 month
yeah.
break.
How much you
Yeah,
got all
yeah.
you could.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
if the Berlin crowd is anything like that German crowd that they showed at WrestleMania, it's going to be a volatile crowd.
Yo.
Electric.
They're gonna
Electric.
be wilding to see Gunther get a W. Like this
Yeah.
all writes itself. So I can only hope everything plays out the way we say, and the way I at least just said it to. You know what I'm saying?
Who wins the
Gunther.
queen of who wins the queen of the ring?
I don't know because I don't know. Well, I mean, I know the SmackDown side of the bracket just got released, so I haven't able to like review it. But oof,
Yeah, we
Queen?
have. Yeah, I'll go through it. We have Io
Yeah,
Sky
please.
versus the Io Sky faces the winner of Shayna Baszler versus Zelina Vega.
hmm
Lyra Valkyria faces Zoe Stark. So we have
Neither.
five. We have 5 left. I would go with Shayna Baszler or Io Sky, to be completely honest.
Yeah, who's on the SmackDown side? I know Nia's in it. Jade's. Oh, Jade. I give it to
Jade's in it?
Jade. Yeah, Jade's on the SmackDown side.
Naomi. I think Naomi wins.
Maybe I'm missing a few names. Let me see if I
SmackDown
can
just
pull it
released
up.
their side. I know Jade's facing Piper Niven. Naomi's in it.
Mhm.
Bianca is also in it as well.
And she's facing Candace.
Yeah.
I could see Naomi. It's kind of tough to have Bianca or Jade win it because their focus right now is on the tag titles. But then
Yeah.
who beats them, and how is Bianca beat? You know
Well,
what I mean? Like,
we're fresh right now in the discourse. You know what I'm saying? The current
Yeah.
chatter online is like, yo, how are they gonna put the women's tag team, champions in this tournament? How could they? Up in arms. It looks like just like when it comes to those two names right now, that King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring graphic, like people are definitely like up in arms right now because of that particular thing. They think it's already watering down the women's tag titles, et cetera, et cetera.
man,
I mean,
I missed
besides the
that
fact
discourse,
that
but
the King of the Ring poster itself is carbon copy of Black Panther, but
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Good
I
eye.
saw that side by side, and I was like, oh, okay.
Insider.
Okay.
Insider.
I'll just chalk that up to you. You sampled it. You sampled it. That's all. It's
yeah,
really
artistic
inspired.
freedom, right?
Yeah. Every
Freedom.
yeah. Every artist steals. It's all good. I understand.
WWE graphic department needs its own episode of anybody's show.
Yo,
They be making some shit work that you're just like, there's no way this is $1 billion company. It's like, yo, they are just having a ball. Like that is the lowest on the totem pole. Way after the video editing. The video editing and all of the production gets way more love than an actual graphic art on that.
It's so true.
let's see what else we have right here on the docket. We have this segment called Champions Watch, where we go through any promotion, WWE, AEW, New Japan, whatever you've been watching recently, whatever you're tapped into. Pick any champion from any promotion. What's interesting about their reign right now, and where do you think it's going?
Ooh, okay. Let's see. It's between 2 people for me, but I think I'm going to go with the more interesting one because he's less charismatic. Oba Femi in NXT.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
That man, I watched him live at Stand and Deliver, and I saw him do something I've never seen a human being do in my life. Is have 2 men of equal size and stature to him on his shoulders and walk them around the ring.
Yeah, he's herbed up Josh Briggs. He's definitely he's fried Josh Briggs, man.
Yeah. I am very interested in his development because he is so dominant. I equate him to he has a ceiling of a Brock. He has a ceiling of a Brock. He is a monster. He's not even actually in really good wrestling shape, which is the scary part about him.
Yeah.
My concern with him that we need to watch out for is that he is so dominant, so quick. How many more people can you feed him and you can still keep that like shtick alive before he actually has to start showing emotion and character? I think the sky's the ceiling for him. I think he is going to be a world beater, especially under the Triple H regime. It's just a matter of how somebody's got to show death or something like that. Like you can be the monster you can be the monster for a very long time, but even Brock at his point showed weakness to people, like his match with AJ Styles at Survivor Series. Like he needs to sell at some point and show that he's in some sort of like despair.
I agree.
But otherwise, he's at a good start.
I see that. That's a good one. Obafemi is good. I feel like the only way they're gonna get the belt off of him is in a scramble.
You got to cheat or a cheat, yeah.
It's gonna be a multi-man match where he doesn't take the pin, and it's gonna be a surprise that he loses because him squashing Wesley on the return has already got me just like, damn, this ain't gonna be Wesley gonna put up a fight, but you know how this shit gonna go, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a good showcase of the future NXT main event. And like, remember how we felt when Braun Breaker joined in? We were like, this is cool, but you got to start doing a little bit more, buddy. And it's taken him up till now for him to be not letting the King of the Ring for all of us to be like, where the fuck is Braun Breaker at?
Right.
That's so
clamoring for Braun Breaker now.
So it's like, you know, Obafemi, 3
Give
years
them less
from now,
so they want more, I guess, is the, you know.
Yeah. 3 years from now, I think he'll be all right. I don't see him being the NXT World Champion just yet, but who knows? Maybe they'll just have the black man versus black man muscle combo match. You know what I'm saying? And get it out the way. You know what I'm saying? And get it out the way. Have this shit looking like it's a UFC match. You know what I'm saying? They got that going in the Battleground. Shit. They had that shit looking like a goddamn Dana White contender.
Dana White, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dana White picks a fight. Yeah,
They're talking about it. Apparently they've been in talks with Derek Lewis of UFC.
Oh,
I just saw that today. As far as personalities go, he fits like a glove in WWE.
Give him and R-Truth a run. Let him go.
Fits like a glove. My champion of the week is even though she is a tag champ, I'm going with Jade Cargill because in that match when she wins this tag team championship, I saw her do a springboard, easy for me to say, which is something like she's still adding new things to her repertoire, or at least showing off things that we haven't seen in her repertoire. Yes. So what I think is really cool is being able to see her, quote unquote, under the learning tree of Bianca Belair. They're obviously going to be doing a lot together because they're the tag team champions, but being able to see her in different situations where there isn't the same amount of pressure on her that she would have if she was a singles champion or even on a singles run is going to be really, really interesting. You know what I mean? And she's a natural athlete. She played basketball before. We know what she can do. She looks like $1 million, but it was always that question of, okay, what happens when you're in there with some competition that is a little bit, you know, a couple of steps ahead of who they've been giving you so far. We didn't get that in AEW, squash match after squash match after squash match. And now we have a chance to see, like, is what happens when she moves out of that I get the hot tag and that's all I do in the match, you know, phase of her career. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a lot of things to see, and I'm just really interested in seeing her development. You know what I mean? And again, this is a new role for Bianca Belair. We all know at some point in WWE, especially, tag teams are put together because there's money in the breakup. There's money in the feud when those two. So at some point this happens. Maybe it doesn't. It never happened with the New Day, for example. But maybe this is the route that they go. But the development overall is going to be cool, and it's a new wrinkle for Bianca Belair. So, but yeah, my champion of the week is Jade Cargill. Even though she's a tag, just the fact that this is completely brand new territory for her.
Yeah, I hope they break up. Bianca and Jade is a WrestleMania main event.
I had that.
No.
It was
it's a WrestleMania main event. It's a WrestleMania main event in the making.
1,000%. 1,000%.
That is a Vegas match right there, though.
Absolutely.
That's fine. The entrances, the attires, like the promos,
all of it. All of it.
The fucking, you know what I'm saying? The video packages. It's gonna look ridiculous in Vegas. Like, yeah, I'm here for that. You know what I mean?
Before you go, Chad, I wonder, like, if we're taking bets today, just a quick Bianca or Jade, who turns on who?
Who?
Jade
is the one that turns? Okay. What you think, Rick?
I think Bianca.
So do I.
Jade's the shiny new toy that everybody's impressed with. Like, to be honest, she is Da Vinci's perfect human drawing come to life.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. She is. She is the shiny new toy. Take away from Bianca's shine. Bianca hasn't had a wrinkle in her character forever. She's kind of John Cena for a while, and rightfully so, you know. But she has I think Bianca has the potential to be a major heel. I'm talking like she takes out the hair clip major heel. Like,
You know what? I get you. This
yeah.
is what can get us to finally be like, all right, fuck Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Like this is it. Like I get that because they're right up until now. She's been so lost in the vortex of the damage control that you just feel sorry for her. You're like, why would I want to boo this woman? She just can't get out of a 2 year long.
Why won't they leave her alone?
Well, exactly.
This is 2 years. Like I can't boo. She. No wonder she took a break for a minute and came back and still feuded with him. She was crazy.
100%.
So I could see her being vindicated and just turning into some like, nah, I'm changing my character up, and this is where I'm going. So I like that idea of Bianca going heel and Jade being the biggest baby face, literally the biggest baby face.
Yeah.
I mean,
And yeah, I agree with Bianca. Bianca is the one we saw what she could do as a heel in NXT, but we haven't seen it on the SmackDown, stage. And
Yeah.
Jade Cargill, because of experience, is the underdog in that kind of thing. So the sympathy is there. We've seen Bianca Belair, multiple time world champion, multiple time main eventer, the face of the entire women's division, one of the faces of the whole company. So Jade Cargill, even though in stature she's much bigger, or not much bigger, but she is bigger than Bianca Belair, she's still the underdog.
Yeah.
So that's dope.
my
Wrestler of the
champion,
week, Chad.
my champion, my
Yeah,
champion,
champion of the week.
my champion. I'm going with Tony Storm. I'm loving.
Timeless.
I'm loving.
Timeless.
Honestly, I'm here. Like it took some time. It really took some time, fellas. Like, but you know what? I am just on the Tony Storm bandwagon. Like last night really did it for me on Dynamite. Like Serena Deeb, God bless her heart, yo. Like
Don't ever
she
hand.
tried.
That is the one segment of wrestling that I did see this week outside of Backlash, and don't ever hand her a microphone ever again.
Yo, fam, Serena Deeb tried it, yo. Like she really tried to get.
Yeah, you still here? Ah, tech
She
I
turn.
say
really tried. I said, I said, she really tried to get this whole like feel sorry. You know what I'm saying? I've overcome the sicknesses, and the crowd in Edmonton really didn't care like at all. Like I thought I was bugging, but on the rewatch, it's like, yo, they really don't know what's going on and they don't care. Where's Tony Storm? And then Tony Storm shows up, and voila, it's just Tony Storm mania. And even with her not in black and white, it looks even better. It's like, oh, this is great. Now this looks normal for a change. And then the interaction is just comedy. And she's more over than everybody else that she's fighting, which in itself has become the problem. Like it's now become the Tony Storm verse where they don't want to turn her babyface, but they're just like, hey, we're holding off on this Mariah May thing until we get to Wembley. So anyone that wants a chance against Tony Storm, good luck.
Right.
Like good luck getting over. Because you ain't gonna be the babyface in this feud. It's just like the DMD, yo. It's crazy that DMD and Hater and Rebby, was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
They
That was
aren't
what
even
that was with
around
DMD.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they are exactly what this is right now with Tony Storm, Mariah May, and Luther. Like it's to a T. You know
A
what I'm saying?
combination of people that on paper, it's like, what? How did we get here? But then you see it play out, and it's perfect. Especially with Luther. Like the first time I saw him pop up, it's like, what do we? What?
Luther is a wavy looking dude, but I'm glad he's away from Serpentico. Because Serpentico was doing him no good. You know what I'm saying? So cut that tag team off. And then, yeah, my champion of the week is Tony Storm. I think Tony Storm is like a negative 120 to win every match up until Wembley. Like I have no like unless DMD shows up and is like, yo, trouble at the bubble. It's me and you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, you know the brand names they be having, like Quake at the Lake and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm the one. It's just DMD versus Tony Storm. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless that might be the one where I'm like, ooh, maybe DMD could take it. But until then, there ain't much left in that division, and Mariah May is clearly the number one contender. And it's just getting avoided on purpose. And I'm here for it.
Which is
I'm
crazy
here.
because you have Mercedes going for the TBS against Willow.
Yeah, about that. About that.
Is there a possibility of some sort of swerve to where Willow walks out of Double or Nothing still with that title? Like, what do we?
Hell to the no.
Yeah. You know, Mercedes said 32 days in that initial like post pay-per-view, party ruining promo. So ever since she said 32 days, it's just been stuck in my head. So even last night when she cuts that promo, like, I'm 18 days away from returning to the ring, I was like, yep, it's over for that title reign. Like,
Yeah.
it's
We are on the clock.
like, it's like, wow, from 32, and it's like, well, 18 days. I was like, oh shit. Wait till she gets to 4 days away. I would be like, oh.
Damn, Willow.
Kiss that belt goodbye, yo. She better have all the defenses going up. Like, everything better work in her favor, man. I feel you, Ayo. I would love to see Willow retain, but
it's either that, it has to be some sort of swerve that literally two people on Earth see coming, or I think like in order to, because there's a lot of money in Willow, so Willow gets turned on by her crew, and they join up with Mercedes at the pay-per-view. I just can't see. I don't see the value or the point or purpose in Mercedes beating Willow clean for the TBS championship. So there has to be something else that happens that causes that to happen, or something that nobody else sees as far as an outcome is concerned.
You mean like her contract?
No, not necessarily the contract. Not the contract. Yo, if her
all that money they gave her to show up?
Nah, but the TBS championship though. Like that's the weird thing. That's the weird thing. If this was the world, it's a foregone conclusion that it's a clean victory. Yeah. But as far as to keep this mid card title going, who does Mercedes have a match with after she beats Willow that we want to see for the TBS championship?
When you say it out loud, it is kind of crazy. It's like
it's the TV title.
You got to think about who is left. It's like Statlander's going heel, Julia Hart's heel, Sky Blue's heel, Serena Deeb doesn't stand a chance in hell. Mariah May's Mira.
I think it's Mira. But like, yeah, that middle of the card. These aren't matches where I'm clamoring like, I can't wait till Mercedes, mixes it up with her. Yeah, like I don't want to see the I don't want to see the rampage.
This is what y'all want. This is what AEW want. Y'all want Rio and Mercedes. Main event of Dynamite. TBS title, man. This is what AEW fans want, son. So it's like, fuck it. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? This is what we gonna get. I feel you, Ayo. I really wouldn't mind a Willow retention. The swerve.
I think it's a turn. I think she does walk out. I think Mercedes walks out with the title, but it's because Statlander joins her. She's the Diesel now. You know what I mean? Like,
I thought it would be Willow wins. I said, I think Willow wins, but the crew turns.
So how does that work? Willow overcomes the turn?
No, it's post match.
Post match setup.
Okay.
Post match, where it's like Mercedes is like, I lost, but it's still fuck you. Like,
it's always a plan B type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's all. Okay. They're really going with so many ways. It's AEW. They're not doing DQs. You know what I'm saying? We're not getting a DQ finish for this match.
Not at a pay-per-view, for sure.
Yeah, not at a pay-per-view. So it's either Mercedes or Willow, clearly, but it's just how we get there.
Yeah. What else you been tapped into, Rick? What else is at the top of your docket as far as the world of pro wrestling right now?
Oh, geez. At the world of pro wrestling, I am big. As I get older, I'm big into the business of wrestling.
Okay.
And how things are made. Like when WWE was going through their TV rights deals, fascinating to me. The fact that, allegedly Nick Khan put all of his portfolio, up public and potentially for sale. Fascinating to me. From a news cycle, and also speaking of the business, the fact that Triple H buried 2 dirt sheets on a press conference.
On the press conference, yeah.
Fascinating to me. Also made me laugh hysterically. But the big thing for me, I think,
not a Meltzer guy, that Levesque.
No, God, that man needs to stop. He really does. When Tony Khan was on the NFL draft and said that wild stuff he was saying, fascinating to me.
Tony Khan is an insane human being, dog.
Yes, he is.
Bro.
Yeah, no media trading in a family that owns a lot of media. But the biggest thing for me, I think it was recently came out that the USA Network ponied up like 25 million to keep Raw for like the 4 months or so before we move over to Netflix. So in October, Raw from October to the end of the year, Raw and SmackDown will be on the same network for 4 months before Raw moves over to
Pretty far.
Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
far.
wild time.
Nick Khan misses no bread.
Nah,
Never.
If there's a
Never.
if there's a dollar to be made, trust me, Nick Khan. The funniest thing, we watched WrestleMania, and the amount, and I'm an advertising guy, right? The
The
amount
amount of advertisements.
of branded, the what do you call it, the ring posts are branded, the ring skirts like, it was
The
so
LED ring
funny.
skirt, yeah.
LED, yeah, it was so funny to me. Like, dude wipes is over here, now we got chicken in this match, now we got this type of drink,
Chicken with the black people. I remember that.
chicken with the black people, exactly. It was like Nick Khan misses no bread, and you can tell Vince is dead. Vince is out of here. Vince,
Yeah, no.
Vince is
Finito,
completely
man.
gone.
Caskets, boy.
No, but that was the death nail of WrestleMania 40 when Stephanie came out. I was like, oh, Steph's back. Vince is not coming
Vince
back.
is gone. Yeah.
Steph won that regularly now.
Yeah.
Steph
Doesn't have any official capacity at all.
Nah.
She's coming out.
All the
"Hey,
stocks are
everybody."
going. He sold all of his shares. He's
WrestleMania.
out. He's out,
Exactly.
man.
Exactly.
doing
No,
the
but that is
dress.
interesting, because there was going to be that period of time where they just weren't on television before the Netflix.
What are they gonna do? That was
I
a big
was
question. What
curious.
are they gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So we have a $25 million oh by the way deal. All right. Cool.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much what it is. That's what fascinates me, and also fascinates me the future of PLEs, because it is very evident that outside of the big four, there's no guarantee we're getting a big PLE match in the States or in North America. They are going to go everywhere except for America. And it's going to have a couple of ripple effects. It's going to make the price per PLE skyrocket. If you looked at the SummerSlam prices, they're ridiculous. And it's in Cleveland, economically like one of the worst states.
Not going to
Right.
be enticing to be in Cleveland. Yeah,
You know, so you're going to have to start ponying up for a lot of events, especially the big ones.
No, I think. Do you think that there's a chance that WWE? Because I was surprised when the WWE Network first launched that they made the decision to kind of kill their pay-per-view business and put everything behind, a one price monthly price subscription tier. But I think there's still value, especially like you mentioned with those big four. You can sell WrestleMania right now as a pay-per-view and still do amazing and make more money than just putting it on Peacock. Now, obviously, it has a lot to do with the Peacock deals and the different contracts that they sign. But I think at some point, if we don't get WWE returning at least for one show, a pay-per-view, one show per year, there's going to be the broadcast version also, to where we might see like NBC gets a WrestleMania, in kind of partnership with Peacock and all of that. Because I think like Nick Khan, I think right now is just open to trying so many different things, new media, new deals, new partnerships, that I'm not surprised anymore at all as far as like what happens and where he takes these shows. And I also don't think we're getting any PLEs, like you mentioned, in the States anytime soon, because why? When all these other governments are like ready and willing to pay whatever they ask plus tax.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
the re-elected mayor of London put out a tweet
Yep.
that if I get reelected, I'm gonna do my hardest to get like a Super Bowl and a WrestleMania in London. 5 minutes later, Triple H tweeted him, said, "Yo, let's talk."
Let's talk.
Like, they are going to the highest bidder, and I think he said, "Let's talk," because he wants the crowd. He wants the shit on All In. It's what he wants to do.
They're
That's
running
what he
Wembley.
wants to do.
Yeah, they're running Wembley, and they'll fucking WWE will lie about their numbers too. So it is what it is. But the bottom line is they're running Wembley, and at some point you're going to have Snoop come right back out and say, "We have just set a brand new Wembley Stadium record:
Record.
97,420 people."
Tony Khan lose his mind. Honestly, if TK really was thinking about this shit, son, he would do shows right around the same areas, yo. Like in the same time. And just run around. Just have fun.
Yeah,
But he said he didn't want to do that. Like when they first started, that was one of the that's really seeing Supercard to honor.
Yo,
He was
that
still
was
on the fence about doing that.
this is a new era. It's like, nah, buddy, you better get with the times because this product hot. That product
Yeah.
cold.
I get it.
So it's
I
like
get
you better see Tony Khan in Berlin. You better see fucking Quake at the Lake happening in Berlin the same weekend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or the weekend after type shit.
Nah, but you know exactly what happens. Like Tony Khan is the most thin-skinned person on Twitter. And
Oh,
as soon
yes.
as he starts following that WWE tour bus and we're gonna do shows where they do shows, those people on Twitter are gonna drive him absolutely insane. He's gonna melt down again. And it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a blast watching.
I'll have so much fun.
But it'll be so hot of product because you already have just let WWE kick in the door, and now we're just gonna do a show in Berlin the
Just
following
follow.
week.
Yeah.
They just popping up. They got the tent. Let's just open the tent and do something in the
AEW
parking
in
lot, bro.
Berlin. We're out here. You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised, yo. I think that shit would work. There are quite a few other countries, like, and I say this because I was reading into it from like an actual international blog, and it's like they actually wouldn't mind, like, you know what I'm saying? AEW in other countries, they feel like it would help expand, make it hot. And it's like I feel
It would. It would.
Even
Wrestling.
TNA
Wrestling's
went to
hot.
London for a while. Like
Yeah.
London and TNA was like pretty fucking active. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're hot. And the big thing with wrestling, it's so hot right now that, like you said, Ayo, I think within the next 10 years, we will get a prime time WrestleMania, like on an NBC, on a Fox, like televised
100%.
on national TV. And it's going to do the craziest numbers in the world. They are that hot, they can pull it off and get away with it, where it literally becomes the everyman Super Bowl, where either you're
100%.
there or you're watching it live. They have the time frame now with WrestleMania 41, where they're not competing with opening day of Major League Baseball, which whatever, and they're not competing with the Final Four, which is a bigger deal. They have the perfect slot at the perfect time now. This can be the major spring kickoff event for all of sports and entertainment.
Yeah,
and to do it on a
1000%.
national televised stage, it'll be nuts.
Yeah, like I've been surprised that they, especially for WrestleMania and SummerSlam particularly, but WrestleMania on national broadcast television has always made sense to me, especially because it'll be on a weekend. You know what I mean? It's always a Saturday or a Sunday or both. Like, even if they just do one of the two, let's do night one on Peacock and night two on NBC. Like, what are we talking about? That's the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that's the Super Bowl.
It'll be unreal. It'll be another cultural event.
Yeah, 1000%. Speaking of cultural events, man, this is episode number 86, a blending of universes, if you will. Nah, this has been cool, bro. Like I'm so happy to see your fucking face. We'll make sure we stay in touch for the next 20 years, like, you know, not like we did for the last 20 years.
Absolutely.
Chad, what are we doing for the rest of your? What are you doing for the rest of your birthday, man? Where you going? What's happening right here?
Shit, man. I'm cooling, man. I'm laying low. The night's over. I done had dinner.
Old head. Yeah.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
And I'm low. The night's over, man. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of the evening, catch up on messages, and just enjoy some more wrestling. Still got to get into prepped and cooked before we get up out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Of course,
I got my prepped and cooked for the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not wrapping us up. I just want to,
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good tonight. Feeling real Rozay. You know what I'm saying?
Let everybody know what Prepped and Cooked is all about and who you got for the week, brother.
Yes. So Prepped and Cooked is my weekly segment where I pretty much take a wrestler's list of matches or matches they've had for the week, and I gauge off if they are being prepped for failure or if they're already cooked and already at the bottom. So right now, prepped this week, I'm going to go with Josh Briggs. I think Josh Briggs is definitely being prepped. Actually, no, I take that back. because he's cooked to me. But my prepped is Rocky Romero. Rocky Romero is being prepped for quite a bit of stupidity. And I hope we are all watching. Like the dismantling. Like this is what I mean by this segment of prepped and cooked. Like prepped is like, all right, you're being prepped for some bullshit. And cooked, Josh Briggs is already cooked. Like he's done for. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Rocky Romero, he wants to go after belts. He lost to Kyle O'Reilly. There's that. He said, let me be trios champion. Me, Pockets, Trent. How's Trent sound? We could bring the band back together. Like, yo, fam, I watched Orange Cassidy. Like, me and Orange Cassidy had the same reaction. Like, the fuck are you talking about? Like, yo, what?
That's not my man's.
Like, yo, were you missing the last hour? Like, I said, nah, yo, we'll bring Trent back together. Like, we'll get the trios titles. Like, yo, I looked at that shit like, nah, no way. I was the only person that watched the stupidity of this segment. No way I caught this. But he then would lose. You know what I'm saying? Next up to Jay White. So there goes that trios opportunity. So yeah. I gotta go with Rocky Romero being prepped for this week, fellas. What say you?
I have no argument against that.
Because might have what's been coming next. Like it ain't gonna be a big win.
What I will say is Rocky, at least in AEW, hasn't been presented seriously as it is anyway. He's just a guy that we know from being around as opposed to doing anything interesting. Outside of that, though, New Japan, former champ, CMLL, former champ. But right here in AEW, no sir. You are prepped. I agree.
Rox, what you think?
I mean, you said it perfectly. That is the AEW problem, I think, for me. I mean, sometimes it also is a pro wrestling problem in general, especially with the big two being AEW and WWE. You bring in these acclaimed people from outside of the United States wrestling scene. They've done great things at CMLL. You put them in New Japan. They've done great things there. And only now, I think, under the reign of Triple H, now that DX has full control of WWE from developmental to the main roster, if you're seeing them kind of be like, okay, you're accomplished. We believe you're accomplished. We've seen your stuff because Vince notoriously didn't watch jack shit. We've seen your stuff. Now we know we can put you in places where you can succeed, or we can hold you back. Like Tama Tonga automatically put in a place where he can succeed. Whereas Jade, we need to work on you. Let's hold you out. Let's keep on shoving you down people's throats. You make your appearances, you make your walks, you show up. But we still, we're still going to develop you so that you are in a place to succeed. And I think that's AEW's issue, where lack of a developmental system that we're aware of. Where it looks in comparison, it looks in comparison to WWE that they are hoarding people and they don't know what to do with them. Where on the outside, it looks like in WWE they have some sort of plan for most people outside of Odyssey Jones.
Yo, he's the draft champion, bro.
He's the draft champion.
He's the undisputed champion of the draft.
But that's the thing. That's always the risk when you go to a big company like an AEW or WWE, is they may not have a plan for you coming in. And right now, WWE makes it look like they have more of a plan than what AEW does with a lot of their acquisitions.
Show up and wrestle, boy.
Yeah. It's so funny to me how AEW right now, as far as the size of their roster, is in the same place that WWE was before AEW. You know what I mean? Like there was a time where it's like, yo, y'all are just signing everybody to keep them away from Ring of Honor at the time and TNA and New Japan. And now AEW is just like, nah, we'll sign you. I don't know what we're going to do.
Oh, damn. Last night's Dynamite to me on the first and then the second watch felt like I was watching an independent house show extraordinaire on the TBS network. Yo, it felt crazy watching that pay-per-view. Watching that show last night. just from Trent and Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero and Jay White, like you feel me? Like Kyle O'Reilly, like saving Adam Copeland from Brody King. Like it was just a super indie. Like the Young Bucks at the end, like it just felt like a super indie show last night. Like you just felt it, man. I think if there was any night I felt it, it was definitely last night on Dynamite. It's always a 7 out of 10 show for me because it always feels like a Mad TV or like Saturday Night Live for wrestling.
That's a
So
great
it's like I'm always
analogy.
gonna laugh. Like Tony Storm, I'm always gonna love this shit. Like the Jericho Learning Tree, like I'm always loving this shit right now. Like I'm embracing this shit. So I'm here for it. But there's some questionable characters that are going on that just ain't working. Like Kyle O'Reilly, not working. Like I would put him prepped and cooked, but I feel like how many times can I yin and yang Kyle O'Reilly in this segment? Like he's like Shinsuke. Like at this point, like there's certain wrestlers I gotta just like
Yeah.
I can't even put them as prepped and cooked anymore because it's like I said them 3 episodes ago 2 times in a row.
I like take Shinsuke over Kyle O'Reilly. At least Shinsuke didn't have a cool Kyle phase.
Yo, I thought Kyle O'Reilly was gonna like do something and like
We all
hold up
did.
Adam Copeland and like be like, yeah, man, like I got your back. Like, don't worry. Eventually, I get the TNT title shot. Yo, fam, before I even finished thinking that, this motherfucker was already backstage. Like, yo, can I get that title shot on Collision? I was like, yo, what was the point of anything? You like, it was just so you could ask him. Like, that was it. Like, you
Could have
just wanted
asked him an hour ago.
you just wanted to show up, save him from a beatdown, and then be like, hey, I do actually want that TNT title. So I know you've got your attention on Malachi Black, but like, let me get a title shot. Like, so you can just beat me. So yeah, Kyle O'Reilly is gonna have to be in the cooked and prepped and cooked list, Hall of Fame at some point. But
Yeah.
cooked finale is Josh Briggs. He's done. Like he's fried, yo. Like there's really he's gonna try to resuscitate, but boy oh boy does he need his partner more than anything. Like they needed a solid tag team run that mattered and not be split up. Because he's going to go back to a strange bedfellow tag team, or he's just going to get Von Wagner.
You took the words right out of my mouth. He's going to be the next Von Wagner, which is unfortunate because I like Josh Briggs.
Like Josh Briggs is going to be a future TNA champion 2 years from now.
He's a future Robert Stone Klein, is what you're telling me.
Yo, yeah. Like Robert Stone could probably take hold of Josh Briggs and resuscitate his career on NXT right now. And that's just from the spectator side. I just think there's only but so many losses he can have where it's just like, well, back of the line, buddy. Like you don't have any wins that matter, and it don't look like you're about to create anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think as far as cooked, Josh Briggs and NXT, yeah, man. Unless he beats Obafemi or Trick Williams, he has, you know what I'm saying, there ain't much to look forward to because he ain't a part of no new classic tournament. There ain't no cruiserweight title. Best he's going to get is the Heritage Cup. Like, you know what I'm saying? He'll go after that. Like, So, Josh Briggs, NXT, cooked.
I can't agree or disagree because I had to Google Josh Briggs right now. So there goes that.
I will say,
look at him and you could be like, "Oh yeah, he's dedefinitely cooked." I see you.
It's a shame because I was at the Evolve show when he broke his hip, and it was rough. Because he used to do top rope moves. He was crazy athletic. He was a football player at UMass. Because I only know this because I interviewed him. He's also a massive nerd. But his indie character is a lot more entertaining than this good old country white guy that he played.
This bar, you know what I'm saying, bar security dude, like it's just not flying, man. Like him and Hank and Tank might as well just connect up and all just be like the bar, like the new APA. Like that'd probably be more. That'd probably be more entertaining as a throwback to APA of them just being like the 3-man kick-ass babyface squad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we just show up, we drink beers, and we just whoop ass. Give me a hell yeah. Like, Works for me.
Works out.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
works.
Hank and Tank ain't going nowhere, and neither are Josh Briggs. So hopefully they all find each other and they can just become a faction. And that's that. That would probably be my best pitch for Josh Briggs. And that's probably the most Josh Briggs mention we'll get on the Ringside Club for quite some time.
Peace to Josh Briggs, man. Yo, Rick.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. You guys are. I'm gonna have to get either one or both of you guys on my show doing a live stuff, and in that madness that is my show that we do on Tuesday nights. Yeah, we'll
say the word, say the date, say the time, and we are there for sure.
Yeah, no, we will definitely set something up now that Aaron knows that I exist in the IWC world.
That's how you know he knows me, man.
Yo, to be fair, people be using a lot of their profile pictures. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the wrestling groups are just a lot of like graphics and avatars. So it's like, until you really see the faces, that's when you're like, oh shit. Like, I didn't know this was you behind this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just follow me YouTube and Instagram and stuff. I'm all over that thing. So
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, it counts me like that until you find it.
I understand. Yeah. So, no, I'll definitely get you guys on. We'll definitely have some fun and shenanigans with my cavalcade of co-hosts and the dumb stuff we do. We have a lot of survey questions for you guys, so it'll be a good time. So we'll figure it out probably over summer. Do some prediction battles, all that stuff.
With that,
say the word. We there. Ladies, gentlemen, man, this has been the Ringside Club. This has been episode number 86, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
Outro server?
Yeah. You got one? Because I don't.
I do. I got a little outro survey.
Who we got?
Does LA Knight see any gold this summer?
Oof.
I'm going to go. At this rate, no. And I say summer. I don't say the year. I'd say the summer.
At the summer, if he's not going up against Logan Paul in Cleveland, then he's not going to get gold. That's the only. He's not going for the heavyweight title. Or either of the heavyweight titles. He's got to get a mid card.
Logan Paul losing in Cleveland to me is where I'm just like,
he's gonna he can do it. He's gonna make Cleveland hate him real quick, real quick.
Yeah, they do.
But I'm leaning towards no. He doesn't get gold this summer.
I think that he has a better chance of winning the Money in the Bank, to be honest, than he does of being a champion. By the time we get to SummerSlam or, whatever, September, he has a better chance of winning the Money in the Bank. So I'm going to go no also. Like, he will not be a champion this summer.
That's another conversation, another topic. Potential Money in the Bank winners, because I really can't call it this year. This is going to be tough. Yeah. Good survey. Good questions.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Yes, sir. This has been the Ringside Club, episode 86, man. Tap in, and we are out of here. Peace.